Hello, everyone. My name is Kenton Kavestu. I'm an ex-BCG consultant, an ex-Googler, and the founder of Rocketblocks, an online platform that helps candidates prepare for interviews. In today's Rocketblocks mini lesson, we've got another video coming to you from our home studio. And today we're going to focus on what is BCG Platinion. Now, Platinion is yet another one of the new BCG groups. We've talked about BCG Digital Ventures, and we've talked about BCG Gamma in the past, and we'll put the links to both those videos down in the comment section below so you can check them out. But today we'll focus on Platinion, which is BCG's new core IT infrastructure group. And what we're going to do is we'll talk about the fundamentals of what is this new group, what are they focused on. We'll look at an example type of project that they would do, talk about the details of what it actually looks like and what type of work are they being hired to do. And lastly, how it fits into the overall BCG strategy. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, let's break down what BCG Platinion is all about. And if you've already looked at their website before, it can be a little bit easy to get lost in some of the jargon they use. You hear agile delivery, technology implementation, core infrastructure, information technology, etc. But I think really the essence of what BCG Platinion is doing is captured in the short summary that we started with, core IT infrastructure. Now let's take that and break that down a little bit. The IT infrastructure is really talking about the technology implementation part of what Platinion does. Their goal as an organization is to help clients implement, build, and modernize their information technology stack. So that's the first part. The second part is that it's got to be core information technology. So this is stuff that is part of the core aspect of the business. It's not about, say, spinning up a new business unit or a new ancillary revenue stream with software, which is something that a group like BCG Digital Ventures might help with. And it's not about a data science problem. It's not about building a new model to understand, say, what the data is telling us about how we should upsell certain clients, which is something that, say, BCG Gamma might do. It's more about the core infrastructure itself. Like, how are we storing the data? How do we make the data available to teams in HQ and teams working remotely, et cetera? It's really a systems engineering type focus that a group like BCG Platinion has. So that's the type of work they're focused on. Uh, Technology implementation work that is really core to the business itself. Okay, so let's go a step deeper here and look at a sample case that BCG Platinion might tackle. Imagine that a global car rental company, say Hertz, approached BCG and said, look, we're having a few challenges and we're hoping you can help. Specifically, the challenges are with our reservation system, which holds all of the reservations globally for all of our customers. And one thing that we noticed is as we've scaled and we've acquired a few different companies, we haven't standardized that reservation technology. So those two systems don't quite talk to each other in a way that they should. Uh, the second thing is we have modernized our customer engagement model, and it's not always that we can assume that an agent is standing behind a desk with a computer in front of them while they're helping a customer, but maybe they're actually in the parking lot with the rental cars with a tablet in their hands. We need a reservation system that can support and communicate with our agents regardless of where they are, whether they're in the office or in a parking lot. And so those are the key challenges we're having. Can you help? Now, if you're a BCG, this is the exact type of case that's well suited towards Platinion because it is about technology infrastructure, and it is technology infrastructure that is core to the business. And furthermore, the client isn't saying, hey, we need help sort of identifying a high level strategic problem, which would be good for the classic management consulting arm, but rather we need help implementing a solution, a technology solution to this problem we're facing. And that is really what Platinion is well suited to. And since the technology problem is core infrastructure, rather than say a data modeling problem, which would be good for Gamma, or spinning up a new business unit, which would be great for BCG Digital Ventures, this is really a Platinion project. Now, let's talk a little bit about what the case itself might look like. There tends to be a few different phases in these type of cases. The first phase is going to be focused around identifying what are all the problems with the current system. So the client approached BCG and talked about the high level problems, but going through and understanding all the use cases that this reservation system is used for, both today where there are problems and also thinking about the future and where do they anticipate having some problems in the future as the business grows. So once you get that list of all the sort of current problems and pain points, the second stage is then, okay, how could we architect a solution that would address all of these problems and certainly make sure that we hit the most important, highest priority problems. And so that phase is about finding, like thinking through the right solution from a technology standpoint to address that. And then the third stage is the actual build and implementation stage. This is where you're going, the teams are actually building technology and helping implement it at the client's company to solve those issues which were identified in the very first phase. So these type of projects, as you can imagine, take a lot longer typically than a strategy case that might run 9 to 12 weeks. And that really is because, especially when you get to stage 3, the implementation and build phase, there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. And that tends to stretch out the cases. So these type of cases tend to run, say, maybe 6 to 12 months instead of something like 6 to 12 weeks long. Okay, so now that we've talked about what a BCG Platinian case actually looks like, let's take a step back and think about the overall strategy. Why is BCG launching and investing in a group like BCG Platinian? And I think the way to think about this is really to think back on the overall evolution of BCG and even some of its competitor firms in the recent decades. We've talked about this in the Future of Consulting video. I'll put the link down below. Basically, companies like McKinsey and BCG have truly evolved from being firms focused solely on strategy consulting to firms that can offer strategy consulting plus implementation. So the pitch for these companies becomes, hey, we can help solve your most pressing strategic problems and make recommendations. And oh, by the way, we can actually help you implement those recommendations so you get the maximum value and impact from them. Now, that's a really compelling pitch. But if you think about that pitch and you think about where the world is going and the reliance on technology and software to power all modern businesses, if you are really hoping to push that pitch hard and to really credibly say you can do strategy plus implementation, but your implementation work does not cover technology implementation, that's going to be a pretty big blind spot. So I think it becomes a strategic imperative for a company like BCG, if they're placing a bet on implementation, to have a really credible offering in IT technology implementation as well. And so that's why I think you see them aggressively pursuing the establishment of BCG Platinian, and I think it makes sense for their overall strategy. So that's how it all fits together. Okay, one final thought that I'll leave you with as you're thinking about Platinian. It's always important when you're considering these new units of consulting firms or any company to try and understand the overall context in which they're operating. And I think what's really exciting and interesting here is that as BCG pursues this strategy of strategy consulting plus implementation, we're really starting to see the big building blocks of that come into place. There's groups like BCG Digital Ventures, Gamma, and now Platinian that are really built on top of the strategy consulting base and are going deep into the different implementation sectors. So it's very interesting to see and will be really exciting to see how it all plays out in the future. Thank you so much for watching. We've got a ton of great videos coming out on both the consulting industry and product management in the future on a weekly basis. So have a great day and stay safe, everyone.